In 1996, Capcom released a game that would define survival horror forever. Resident Evil didn't just create a genre, it turned zombies from B-movie jokes into genuine nightmares. What started as one mansion full of infected dogs and terrible voice acting became the highest-grossing horror franchise in gaming history. From the terror of Spencer Mansion to Lady Dimitrescu breaking the internet, this is every Resident Evil game. And trust me, this franchise has been through some wild phases. Resident Evil, 1996. The one that started everything. You play as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, members of the elite STARS unit investigating a series of murders in the Arklay Mountains. After being chased by zombie dogs, your team takes shelter in a massive mansion on the outskirts of Raccoon City. Turns out, it's secretly an Umbrella Corporation lab where illegal bioweapon experiments went catastrophically wrong. The gameplay was revolutionary. Fixed camera angles that made every corner terrifying. Limited inventory forcing impossible decisions. Tank controls that made running away harder than fighting. Save rooms with that iconic typewriter and safe room music. And those loading screen doors that became legendary for all the wrong reasons. The story introduced us to the T-Virus, Albert Wesker's betrayal, and the Umbrella Corporation conspiracy that would drive the entire franchise. The mansion itself was basically a character, with its puzzles, secret passages, and that piano room that still haunts players decades later. Critics loved it, players were terrified. And those zombie dogs jumping through the hallway windows created one of gaming's most iconic jump scares. The voice acting was hilariously bad, but somehow that made it better. Nobody expected this to spawn a franchise that would dominate horror gaming for 3 decades. The 2002 GameCube remake perfected everything. Better graphics, new areas, the Crimson Head mechanic that punished you for not burning bodies, and Lisa Trevor's tragic story. It's still considered one of the best remakes ever made. Resident Evil 2, 1998. The game that proved lightning could strike twice. 2 months after the mansion incident, Raccoon City is completely overrun by the T-Virus. You play as Leon Kennedy, a rookie cop on his first day, or Claire Redfield, searching for her brother Chris. Both arrive in Raccoon City at the worst possible time, and have to fight through hordes of zombies, mutated creatures, and the Raccoon City Police Department. The zapping system lets you play 2 different scenarios that interconnected. Choices in Leon's campaign affected Claire's and vice versa. The A/B scenario structure added massive replayability and showed different perspectives of the same nightmare. This game introduced Mr. X, the tyrant who stalks you relentlessly through the police station. Every footstep, that damn fedora, the complete impossibility of actually killing him. Pure terror in a trench coat. Also gave us Ada Wong, one of gaming's most mysterious characters, and the G-Virus, which created body horror that made the T-Virus look tame. The police station, with its elaborate puzzles, the sewers, the Umbrella Lab underneath, each area was perfectly designed. The game balanced action and horror better than anything before it. And that scene where you first see the liquor crawling across the ceiling? Perfection. The 2019 remake is a masterpiece. Over-the-shoulder camera, modernized gameplay, and Mr. X became even more terrifying when he could follow you everywhere. It's not just one of the best remakes ever, it's one of the best games ever made, period. Resident Evil 3, Nemesis, 1999. The one with the unkillable stalker. Originally meant to be a spin-off, RE3 takes place before, during, and after RE2. You play as Jill Valentine trying to escape Raccoon City while being hunted by Nemesis, a bioweapon specifically designed to kill STARS members. Unlike Mr. X, who was menacing, Nemesis is fast, smart, carries a rocket launcher, and can actually follow you through doors. The dodge mechanic added a new layer to combat. The live selection system let you make choices that changed how the story played out. Nemesis could show up at randomized moments, making every playthrough different. The tension of hearing STARS and knowing he was close created genuine panic. The game showed the complete collapse of Raccoon City, from the streets, to the clock tower, to the dead factory. Introduced the Mercenaries mode that would become a series staple, and ended with the city getting nuked, closing the Raccoon City chapter of the franchise. The 2020 remake was divisive. It looked gorgeous and played great, but cut too much content from the original. Nemesis was more scripted and less terrifying. The clock tower got cut entirely. It's still a good game, but fans wanted more. Resident Evil Code Veronica 2000. The Dreamcast exclusive that everyone forgets was mainline. 3 months after Raccoon City, Claire Redfield infiltrates an Umbrella facility in Paris, looking for her brother Chris. She gets captured and sent to Rockford Island, another Umbrella facility that conveniently gets attacked and infected right after she arrives. Claire escapes, tips off Leon, who tells Chris, and Chris shows up to rescue his sister while uncovering Umbrella's darker secrets. This game went full anime with the Ashford twins, their weird obsession with each other, and Alfred's split personality disorder. The story got intentionally ridiculous, but somehow it worked. Also brought back Wesker, revealing he survived the mansion and now has superpowers. Because why not? The game removed fixed cameras for 360-degree movement, but kept the tank controls. Introduced the item storage box transfer system. Had multiple playable characters switching between Claire and Chris. The Antarctic facility and the Tyrant fight were memorable set pieces. Code Veronica X added new cutscenes and tweaked gameplay. It's the most underrated mainline entry. Not as iconic as 2 or 3, but essential for understanding Wesker's evolution from traitor to superhuman villain. Resident Evil 0, 2002. The prequel nobody asked for, but secretly needed. Set 1 day before the mansion incident, you play as Rebecca Chambers from STAR's Bravo team, and Billy Cohen, a convicted criminal being transported to execution. Their helicopter crashes. They end up on a train full of zombies and leeches, and have to work together to survive while uncovering how the T-virus outbreak really started. The partner zapping system lets you switch between Rebecca and Billy in real time. No item boxes, meaning you had to drop items on the ground and remember where you left them. This sounds interesting until you're backtracking across a train trying to remember where you dropped that Magnum ammo 3 hours ago. Introduced the Leech Man, James Marcus, and showed the founding of Umbrella. The train setting was fantastic. The training facility, less so. The game looked gorgeous for 2002, but the partner system and inventory management frustrated players. Honestly, it's fine. Not essential, but die-hard fans enjoyed seeing Rebecca's story and learning about Umbrella's origins. Resident Evil 4, 2005. The game that changed everything, for better and worse. 6 years after Raccoon City, the U.S. government destroyed Umbrella. Leon Kennedy is now a special agent sent to rural Spain to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley Graham. He discovers a cult called Los Illuminados, infecting villagers with Las Plagas, parasites that turn people into aggressive zealots. The over-the-shoulder camera revolutionized third-person shooters. QuickTime events, context-sensitive actions, the attaché case inventory system, weapon upgrades from the merchant, gameplay mechanics that dozens of games copied for the next decade. The controls were responsive, the shooting felt great, and the action was intense. RE4 ditched survival horror for action horror, and it worked perfectly. The village siege, the lake monster, the castle section, the island finale. Every chapter had memorable moments. Dr. Salvador with his chainsaw, the regenerators with their creepy breathing, and that goddamn right-hand-left-hand fight that still gives players PTSD. Leon became everyone's favorite character. The cheesy one-liners, the backflip dodge, the knife tricks. Ashley was annoying, but the game knew it and made fun of her. And Luis, Salazar, and Krauser added personality to the villain roster. The game sold millions, won countless awards, and got ported to literally every platform imaginable. It's one of the most influential games of all time, and completely changed the direction of Resident Evil. The 2023 remake modernized everything while keeping what made the original special. Enhanced storytelling, improved Ashley, and gameplay refinements made it arguably better than the original. That's how good it is. Resident Evil 5, 2009. The one that went full action and divided the fanbase. Chris Redfield goes to Africa to investigate bioterrorism and gets partnered with Sheva Alomar. They discover Wesker is behind a new outbreak and plans to infect the entire world with Ouroboros, a virus that either turns you into a god or a tentacle monster. There's no in between. RE5 doubled down on action and removed almost all horror. Co-op became mandatory, whether you played online or suffered with the AI. The game forced you to stop moving while aiming, which felt outdated even in 2009. Inventory management during combat was a nightmare. That said, the game was fun with a friend. The Mercenaries mode was incredible. Boss fights were over-the-top spectacles, and the final Wesker fight was so absurd it became iconic. Chris punching a boulder became a meme that Capcom leans into to this day. Critics were mixed. Fans complained it wasn't scary, but it sold incredibly well because co-op made it accessible to non-horror fans. RE5 proved you could make Resident Evil mainstream, but at the cost of what made it special. Resident Evil Revelations, 2012. The 3DS game that brought back survival horror. Set between RE4 and RE5, Jill Valentine and Parker Luciani investigate a bioterrorism threat on a luxury cruise ship. The game alternates between the ship's claustrophobic corridors and other locations with multiple playable characters and timelines. The ship setting was perfect. Tight hallways, limited ammo, genuinely tense atmosphere. The ooze enemies were grotesque and unsettling. The raid mode added arcade-style cooperative missions with progression and unlockables. Revelations proved horror could work on handheld and reminded everyone what made classic RE great. It got ported to consoles later because it was too good to stay on 3DS. Absolutely worth playing. Resident Evil 6, 2012. The one that tried to please everyone and satisfied no one. RE6 has 4 campaigns following Leon, Chris, Jake Muller, Wesker's son because of course, and Ada Wong. Leon's campaign is survival horror. Chris's campaign is a military shooter. Jake's campaign is an action game. Ada's campaign is stealth. The game couldn't decide what it wanted to be. The story is a convoluted mess about Neo Umbrella, bioterrorism, government conspiracies, and family drama that makes Metal Gear Solid look straightforward. The campaigns intersect at various points, which sounds cool but mostly just pads the runtime. Gameplay tried too many mechanics. Slide moves, dodge rolls, stamina systems, melee combat, quick-time events everywhere. The camera was terrible. The controls were clunky. Co-op was mandatory again. And the game was absurdly long, over 20 hours if you played every campaign. Critics slammed it. Fans hated it. RE6 represented everything wrong with the franchise's direction. It tried to be Call of Duty with zombies and failed spectacularly. But Capcom learned from this disaster, which eventually led to RE7's redemption arc. That said, Mercenaries mode was still excellent. And with a friend, the campaigns are hilariously bad in an enjoyable way. Resident Evil Revelations 2, 2015. The episodic sequel that was better than RE6. Set between RE5 and RE6, Claire Redfield and Moira Burton get kidnapped and trapped on a mysterious island. Meanwhile, Barry Burton searches for his daughter Moira 6 months later. The episodic structure created weekly cliffhangers and made discussions exciting. The two-character system worked better than RE5's co-op. Claire fights, while Moira uses a flashlight and crowbar. Barry fights, while Natasha uses stealth and brick throwing. Different playstyles that complemented each other. The game had multiple endings depending on your choices and actions. The raid mode returned with more depth and replayability. And it was genuinely creepy in places. showing Capcom was slowly remembering what made Resident Evil work. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard 2017. The complete reinvention that saved the franchise. After RE6's disaster, Capcom went back to basics. First-person perspective, isolated setting, limited combat, pure survival horror. You play as Ethan Winters, searching for his missing wife Mia in rural Louisiana. He finds her at the Baker family plantation, where things are very, very wrong. The Baker family is instantly iconic. Jack, who won't stay dead, Marguerite and her bugs, Lucas and his sadistic games, all infected by a bioweapon called the Mold that makes them regenerate and go insane. The family dinner scene is one of the most uncomfortable moments in gaming. The game emphasized exploration, resource management, and puzzle solving. Combat felt desperate. The VR support made it the scariest game ever made in virtual reality. And the atmosphere was suffocating in the best way. RE7 was Capcom admitting they lost their way and committing to finding it again. Critics loved it. Players were terrified. And it proved Resident Evil could evolve without losing its identity. The game felt fresh while honoring the series' roots. Resident Evil Village 2021. The one with the tall vampire lady who broke the internet. RE8 continues Ethan's story a few years after RE7. He's living peacefully with Mia and their daughter Rose until Chris Redfield apparently murders Mia and kidnaps Rose. Ethan wakes up in a mysterious village in Eastern Europe and has to fight through multiple sections ruled by different lords to save his daughter. Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters dominated marketing and became cultural phenomena. Then you fight a swamp monster, a cyborg engineering genius, a creepy doll, and Mother Miranda, who orchestrated everything. Each section feels like a different horror subgenre. The game blends RE4's action with RE7's horror perfectly. The merchant returns as the Duke. Weapon upgrades, treasure hunting, and unlockables add replayability. And the factory section is pure nightmare fuel. Village is more action-heavy than RE7, but maintains tension throughout. The story gets wild, introducing bioweapons, mold infections, and revelations about the entire series' connections. Ethan's sacrifice hit harder than expected for a character who's literally just hands in first person. The game achieved the highest peak player count in series history on Steam. Critics gave it near-perfect scores, and it proved RE7's direction was right while allowing more freedom in tone and gameplay. From that first zombie turning around in the mansion hallway to Ethan Winters' tragic sacrifice in a burning village, Resident Evil has been scaring players for almost 30 years. The franchise survived bad voice acting, awkward tank controls, misguided action phases, and somehow came out stronger. Some games were revolutionary, some were disasters, some were remakes that surpassed their originals. But together they created the blueprint for survival horror and proved that zombies, bioweapons, and corporate conspiracies never go out of style. Whether you're a classic fan who loves fixed cameras and item boxes, or a newcomer who started with Village and Lady Dimitrescu, Resident Evil has something that keeps pulling us back. Even when it stumbles, even when it forgets what made it great, the series finds its way home to that mansion in the Arklay Mountains where it all began. And with RE9 coming soon, the nightmare isn't over yet.